stage for our next interview. And he's been taking his vitamins. What vitamins you taking, my friend?
C, zinc, and D to stay healthy. You know, got to keep the girlish figure.
That's right. Okay, so he's fully loaded, chock full of vitamins.
And interviewing a buddy of mine because, Tony Azios is a filmmaker. You know, we're big fans of his work over here, and he is actually lending his talents to the Memoirs Pasifika Project, and we're going to talk about that and how podcasts can be used to tell the story of Micronesia. So that's coming up when the link continues right here on KUAM.
The Totomotna Tales. October on the KUAM Podcast Network.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications. Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi.
Celebrate National Pizza Month with the Pepsi Ultimate Pizza Trivia Challenge. All you have to do is listen to the link during the month of October, and when prompted, call 671-637-0094 with the answer to the Pepsi Ultimate Pizza Trivia Challenge. Winner will receive a gift certificate from our participating pizza parlors and a 12-pack of Pepsi, brought to you locally by Pepsi.
KUAM TV has been on the air for 65 years. 65 years of growing, changing, and adapting to the needs of our local community. 65 years of making you smile, laugh, and cheer, and being there for you in times of tears and heartbreak, and learning to heal together. We've kept you on the edge of your seats, been a trusted source for you to turn to, weathered many storms together, and celebrated life's big moments. And now at 65, we celebrate all the firsts we brought you over the years and all the firsts that lie ahead as our world changes. KUAM TV, celebrating 65 years of firsts on Guam.
All right, everybody, welcome back to The Link. Glad to have you along for the ride, and glad to have our buddy Tony in the KUM News Zoom room. Now let's bring him right in, because I have known Tony for a few years now, and I gotta say, big fan of his work as a filmmaker. He has done amazing storytelling endeavors. Tony, you still got a bunch of your stuff on Vimeo, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, actually my personal website is embarrassingly out of date. I've got a lot more stuff that I could add to it, but yeah, a number of documentaries I worked on, especially in my time in DC before moving out here in 2016, is available.
I was telling Chris about that. The film of yours that you did that I thought was just, spellbinding as far as the actual story you covered and then the way you laid it out, was that story about how Disney has a tendency to like go into certain markets and, and just completely like dominate. But what was it? Like a little town in Virginia just said, we're not doing that.
Right. That was a documentary film that I served as cinematographer on, called When Disney Came to Town. And yeah, essentially it was an attempt by Disney to just kind of steamroll through a local community and build a sprawling amusement park in one of America's most historically important areas. And so it's the story of a local community, how they fought and won against one of the largest companies in the world.
Yeah, fascinating stuff and everything. So I'm gonna throw the link up, as we're talking in comments, so people can check that out, because I mean that's easily like one of my top 10 documentaries. But fantastic work.
Wow, that's
and
quite
now,
the compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would say, even if I didn't know you, I'd say you're probably a filmmaker, given all that gear in the back, or you're like a big TikTok, or you're a big TikTok star, one way or the other.
No, I'm not a TikTok star, but yeah, I did go to film school. I got an MFA in documentary film production.
Very nice. And you are now lending your talents because you've chosen to make Guam your home, and you're actually telling the story and the history of Micronesia through a new podcast series with a good friend of ours, Dr. Mike Bivacqua.
Yes, sir. Doing my best, trying my hardest to do that. And for every episode of Memoirs Pasifika, we work with a different person to serve as the anchor. As you mentioned, Dr. Bivacqua has been the anchor on 2 episodes now, including our most recent one that we just released yesterday about the revival of traditional navigation in the Marianas through the help of Carolinian navigators. And we've also worked with LJ Santos out of Saipan. Dr. Vivian Damas has anchored 2 episodes. But yeah, so we try to connect with people from the region who are subject matter experts and who are storytellers and historians to, most of the work I do is behind the scenes as the producer, creating a platform for other folks to tell the story of the region.
Yeah, but Matt, I gotta apologize to you in front of like basically the entire internet here, because I mean, you have reached out to me and hit me up numerous times and said, hey, you know, does KUAM have this particular footage from like way back, or, you know, do you guys have anything like this? And we've been like turning our archives like upside down because we want to help tell the story of Micronesia through your work too. A lot of which, and the reason I bring this up is you're actually going way back in the history of Guam and the region to tell where we are and then where we're going to.
Well, no, you don't have anything to apologize. Thank you so much for making attempts to find archival footage.
I'll get you that B-roll one of these days, man. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna come through.
The fact of the matter is, it's very hard to find archival material relating to the region for a number of reasons. But a lot of it is, you know, in your situation, a lot of that stuff has been lost over the years to storms, to mold, to not the best preservation strategies by different organizations, you know. So that is one of the fundamental challenges of telling these stories and trying to incorporate archival material, is that a lot of it just hasn't survived, or, you know, if it has survived, it hasn't yet been digitized, or it's sitting in somebody's closet buried under a mound of things and boxes, and they don't even know about it anymore, or their grandkids haven't unpacked that box yet.
But I'm sure you would agree, Tony, as a creative storyteller, that, you know, with challenge comes opportunity, and now you're using that very approach to say we're going to take the podcast format, which is, you know, on demand, which is multi-platform, you know, which is digital, so it can go all over the world instantaneously, and you're funneling everything, you know, through this work through that venue.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to use this platform to tell these stories about the region to both local, regional audiences and a global audience, and trying to spread the fascinating stories of the Marianas and Micronesia. And doing that through a number of different ways. But yeah, some of my favorite episodes are the ones that we were able to find a lot of good archival material for, because it just really helps add some texture and helps to transport the listeners back a little bit.
Absolutely. And some people
how
say,
people are
okay,
describing it or reacting in the moment, in the time.
Yeah, some people say, okay, well, it's film and it looks really grainy, and, you know, like that's how Guam looked 50 years ago. That's exactly the point. I mean, you want to kind of drive home, you know, the progress, or in some cases, maybe with traditional navigation and seafaring techniques, you know, the fact that these approaches to, you know, to navigating the Pacific and everything like that, they still work today, and they're still just as relevant as they were, you know, generations ago.
Right. And, you know, one of the things you mentioned that this podcast goes way back in time. We actually just, you know, we actually describe it as telling modern Micronesian history. Of course, in almost every episode, we have to give some grander historical context going back, in the most recent one, we start 4,000 years ago when at the very beginning of the peopling of Micronesia, right? The very first navigators to land on the shores of Guam. But that said, for the most part, we try to focus the stories on post-World War II events. And the reason for that is because for every episode, we're interviewing people who somehow witnessed or participated in the event in question to get that first-hand perspective, that primary source. A description of the events, right? And so, of course, in order for that to happen, we have to speak to people who are still alive, or in some cases, their relatives who are familiar with the events and maybe heard that story told at the dinner table enough times that they can accurately relay it for us. Yeah,
I was gonna say, even though you've got a lot of maybe some road bumps as far as finding like some of the technical assets or the artifacts, you know, to tell your stories and everything. I'm sure there's no shortage of human resources that are like more than willing to say, this is what I've been through. This is my personal life experience directly with this, or, you know, this is what the stories and the tales my grandfather handed down to me.
We have been very lucky so far to find a large group of people willing to participate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of them, you know, are even, doing this through interviewing with us through Zoom from the East Coast or the West Coast of the mainland United States or something, and working with the difficult time zone difference in order to accommodate and participate in this project.
Well, to further kind of like extend the interactive component of your podcast and everything like that, you're actually hosting a Q&A forum and everything like that, and that's going to be on Zoom as well, right? And talking about how to use this forum and what to expect and how to participate. Would that be correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that event is tonight. Starts at 7:30 local time, goes until 9 p.m. And it is a virtual event hosted through Zoom. And if anyone's interested, you can find the registration link on the memoirspecifica.com website. There's a page dedicated to it called Virtual Event. But yeah, so that's going to be a fun opportunity to not just listen to the episode, but actually interact with some of the folks, including myself, including Dr. Vivian Damas, and including Dr. Michael Lujan Bavacqua. The audience can ask some questions, and there'll be a moderated panel. Professor Manny Cruz from UOG, journalist and media instructor.
Very familiar with his work.
Yeah, he'll be the moderator. And it should be an exciting event. And we're talking a lot about Memoirs Pasifika, but we're expanding it beyond just that and talking about the role of podcasting in telling Micronesian stories to a local and global audience, because Dr. Bavacqua is the current host of the Fanatsu podcast, and Dr. Damas is current host. Yeah, sorry, I think I said former host. Dr. Bavacqua is the current host of Fanatsu, and Dr. Damas is a former host of KPRG's Beyond the Fence radio show.
And you can actually find the Fanatsu podcast right here on the KUM Podcast Network. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can get you can get Dr. Mike's very fine work. So Tony, I kind of wanted to wrap with this and everything because even though I said you've made Guam your home and you are a Guamanian now and you've contributed to the ongoing story of who we are in a variety of ways and everything. You're not from here originally, though, right? But having been transplanted here and now probably learning that one of the shortcomings of our history is that we did not chronicle or document anything for a very, very long time. Your own effort and that of your colleagues and everything like that is really helping to right that kind of like omission and everything like that. So what have you been able to take away from all of these stories you're being told or all of this history that you're discovering, and then actually put it in a tangible format that will survive the test of time?
Well, I'm trying to contribute in a small way to the effort that's already taking place to do exactly that through the good work over at Guampedia or Mark, a number of different scholars in the region who are recording, document, and sharing the story of the region. So I'm just really glad to be part of that movement, so to speak. When it comes to pre-colonial history, that stuff isn't necessary, that those stories and events aren't necessarily recorded in writing, just because that was not how things were done. But it's amazing to find out just through these interviews how much oral history survives, and being able to, and it's been a really interesting experience to tap into really, really old documents as well, to try to get the perspectives of different people who were visiting or colonizing Guam at different points, and trying to match their perspective and telling of those events up against what survives of the through oral tradition of those same events.
Absolutely. Well, I know you played it down a little bit, but you're actually playing like a very, very big role from an organization that is doing a very positive thing for our community, and continuing that ongoing conversation and the narrative of of who we are, where we've come from, and where we're going, and everything like that. So the community of which you are a part, thanks you much.
I really appreciate that, Jason. Thanks.
All right. We got a video bomb there. A little cat just made an appearance.
Oh, is my cat in the shot? I've got a few, so.
Well, maybe that'll be in your next documentary.
Sure.
Yeah. So check out Tony's work, you guys. A really, really talented guy. I'm a big fan. I love supporting fellow creatives and everything like that. And he's now doing good work that benefits our island community. So Tony, good luck tonight, man.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on the show anytime.
Thank you.
All right. And everybody stay tuned, because we are talking about ways that we can honor our dearly departed loved ones down in beautiful Inalahan. That interview is coming up when the link continues right after.
The KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts from our island and region, including culture, lifestyle, awareness, crime, politics, commentary, comedy, and